Happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me. Hello everybody, it is my 52 50 fucking second birthday. How did that happen today? Anyway, welcome to this episode of Coach Cara's podcast, Itchy, Bitchy and Guests. Today, I am here to remind you that if you are a midlife woman, I want you to remember the word midlife, which means, funnily enough, right, if you've been here for like 45 years, you might actually have another 45 years on this planet, right? And what the fuck are you going to do with them? Obviously, I'm 52 today. Did I mention that? Look, I've got my Starbucks coffee if you're watching me on YouTube. Yep. Been to Tesco. Mum's coming for lunch today, so I've been to Tesco. I've walked Jasper. I've been to Tesco. Got the stuff for lunch. I'm making roasted carrots with whipped feta, crispy chickpeas, zug, which I think is like I think it's maybe Moroccan. It's like a pesto, lemon zest, and dukkha, which is like a nutty, seedy, sprinkly thing. That sounds amazing. Anyway, I went to Tesco and got all the stuff for it, and that was cool. Came home and I've left the feta in Tesco, so I don't actually know if I've picked the feta up. I definitely picked the feta up. If I've picked the feta up and then just put it back on the shelf, or if I've put it in my basket and then left it in my basket at the checkout, I'm not very sure. Anyway, so I went back to Tesco, decided I deserved a coffee, and then Emma's just been to the door, my favourite CrossFitter ever in the whole world. So I opened the door all excited and I'm like, oh my God, come in, you can totally be in my podcast. And she's just totally patched me because she's away at the gym, so you've just got me. To be fair, I hadn't given her any notice whatsoever, but I must get Emma on the podcast actually because I've had two meltdowns at my work. One of them was particularly bad, and Emma witnessed it and told me that she still loved me and that I wasn't a dick, even though I was a dick. And then the second time, me and Emma were both having a meltdown on the same day, and we fell out. Like, we took our relationship to a whole new level and had our first. It wasn't even an argument. She said a comment, and I was like, "Fuck this." Anyway, we're obviously the best of pals because we love each other. Anyway, right, back to the topic in hand. Sorry, that was I'm very excited because it's my birthday. Anyway, Mum's coming over. I've now got all the stuff for lunch, which is amazing. If anybody wants that recipe, by the way, I don't know if I've quite sold it, but it's roasted carrots on a bed of whipped feta with zug and dukkha. And we've got warm flatbreads, or we'll have warm flatbreads to scoop up all the lovely whipped feta. Anyway, if you want the recipe, find me on my socials, Coach Caris on Insta and Facebook. Drop me a message and I'll send you the recipe. So, today's topic, right, is based on the fact, obviously, that I am 52, right? I'm getting older. None of us are getting any younger. But the amount of times that I hear from women, right, that they are in, well, they don't really say midlife because nobody says midlife, middle-aged maybe, or they just tell me their age. Like, quite a lot of messages in the DMs about, hi, just wondered if you could help me. I'm 45 or 52 or 47 or 60 or 40, right, midlife-ish, 40 to 60-ish. And I just feel like my life's over, or I'm not happy with what I see in the mirror, or I haven't done any exercise for years, or I'm 3 stone overweight and I've just accepted that this is my life now. So this is just a little reminder that you've been here for this long, right? And you might actually have this long again on this planet, right? So I want you to think about the first half of your life, like up till now, and are you happy with where you're at? Right, we can't change the past. Everything that we've done, and that makes us who we are, right? But are you happy with where you are right now? And if you are happy, fucking amazing, right? I absolutely take my hat off to you, right? I am happy, but there was a long time that I wasn't happy. So if you're where you are in your midlife at the moment and you're happy, absolutely banging. Like, I'm giving you the big love hearts, right? Absolutely banging. But if you're not happy, like, what are you going to do about it? Because you shouldn't just accept it. because that's not cool. You literally have, like, permission to rewrite your life, the next part of your life, whatever you want to call it, your next chapter, your journey, whatever you want to call it, the next part of your life, the next 10 years, the next 5 years, right? The next 45 years. You can literally do whatever you want, right? And if you're scared to make any changes, I want you to think about why. It's probably confidence, right? It's probably, you probably don't actually believe that you can do it, which is confidence, all right? So when I first started coaching, when I first decided that I'd found my niche, that I was actually going to coach midlife women, right, in fitness and in nutrition and health and daily habits, right, I was very much of the opinion that I'm going to help women get back, I want you to remember that word, get back to where they were and back to where they wanted to be, right? And I genuinely myself, right, when I worked on myself, used to think that I wanted to get back to the kind of person that I was, because the perimenopause was filled with, and still is slightly, but was filled with anxiety and self-doubt and imposter syndrome and lack of confidence, right? But when I actually sit down and think about that, which I have done and written down in my journal quite a few times, probably for about the last year and a half, when I think about getting back to where I was, I don't want to be back where I was. Because when I go back my decades and I think about it, right, now when I was, just say when I was a teenager, up to when I was about 20, right, I had pretty much no confidence in really speaking to anybody, right? I wasn't particularly good in company or in a crowd. I couldn't actually bring myself to speak to a boy without getting a beamer. I'm actually still like that sometimes. Or not speaking to a boy. I can speak to a boy, no bother now, but I can still get a massive beamer, right? One of the ladies that left posted something in our group Facebook page this morning, right? So we have a group Facebook page, and I started it off to be educational for all the ladies, right? But it's genuinely just filled with banter. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this to you, right? So Lynn Watson, I'm giving you a shout out. Lynn's been on. Remember, Lynn was on our podcast, by the way, because she's done absolutely amazing. At 60, she's found the perfect balance of food and fitness, right? But she's put happiest of birthday to our top coach, the most easily embarrassed person I know, yet can drop fuck and vagina into any conversation so casually. This is true, right? I swear like an absolute trooper. I make no apologies for it. People do say it's because you don't have a good grasp of the English language, but sometimes you just need to say fuck. Right, and I love the word vagina. It's hilarious. I will say it as often as I can. Right, check out my stories today. I've got a shaft of light coming from my vagina on one of my stories. It's hilarious. I'm so funny. Anyway, right, so when I think back to what I was like pre-20s, right, I was absolutely mortified all the time, right? I never had any confidence, and my face goes scarlet, right? And my face still goes scarlet if somebody in the gym mentions something like, I don't know, like sex or love. It's fucking ridiculous, right? I'm 52 and I still get an absolute beamer. Anyway, right, so I don't really want to be like that. When I was in my 20s, I was a fucking riot, like an absolute riot. I was smoking, I was drinking, there was drugs as well. And it probably gave me the confidence that I didn't have up to when I was 20, right? Wrongly, I did used to use alcohol, as a lot of women do, a lot of women did, a lot of women still do use alcohol to give them confidence, and drugs or whatever, right? But it wasn't cool, right? I was an actual riot. I just used to lurch from one drama to the next, right? Didn't really know what I wanted to do, didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. By this point, I'd been a trainee joiner. Yeah, I'm a half-time serve joiner, by the way. Anyway, that was a long time ago. I was in the Navy for a couple of years, past that, and all that did was teach me to drink even more, which is not a good idea. And with hindsight, if I got to live my life again, I probably would have stuck the joinery thing out, to be fair. Anyway, so yeah, I was a riot. When I think back to my 30s, I was predominantly in a very unhappy relationship, marriage actually, and I let one guy probably pick away all my sparkle. So all the things that he apparently fell in love with me for, and I never, with hindsight by the way, I don't believe he ever loved me. I was pretty rock bottom when he met me because I'd came out of another relationship that I'd found out my best friend had been having an affair with my partner for 3.5 years. So that was pretty horrific. So I came out of that anyway, met this other guy on the rebound. It should have lasted 3 weeks. It never lasted 10 years. It was far too long. Couldn't walk away. He had so many issues. It was unreal. And I let those issues come into my life, basically. And I let him turn everything around that he originally loved about me, liked about me, and then used them against me. So I was too loud. I was too gobby. I laughed too much. I was too sarcastic. And yeah, it was just horrible. So he pretty much destroyed my self-confidence, right? But I let him destroy my self-confidence. I'm not playing the victim here, all right? Absolutely not playing the victim here. I let him destroy my self-confidence, and because I wasn't confident enough to fight him off or to whatever, to get rid of him or whatever, all right? But anyway, so when I think back to my pre-20s, my 20s and my 30s, fuck no. That's a fucking hard no. Absolutely do not want to be back there. Right, when I got to my 40s, I was just coming out of that shitty marriage. I was back living on my own again for the first time in a very long time, first time in 10, 11 years. It was difficult. I moved into my house on my own. It was amazing. I was in my house on my own for a month, and we had a particularly freezing cold winter. The boiler burst, and the hot water tank burst, which was in the loft, and it flooded my whole house. So I had to move out into temporary accommodation for 6 months. That was also pretty horrific and nearly tipped me over the edge. And then I spent another couple of years just partying. So I went back to what I was like in my early 20s. Drink, fags, shitty food. I was fat. I was unhappy. Anyway, it was just, yeah. My God, it actually sounds like my life has been shit. It's not been shit, right? There's been so many fun times as well. I have pals that I'm still pals with through that whole thing. Anyway, the whole point of this is I want you to think back to what your life has been like, right, in your different decades, and do you actually want to be that person again? Because a lot of women that I coach, right, are very much convinced that, oh my God, I'm 45 now, I want to get back to my pre-baby weight. I mean, do you? Because there's a lot of shit that comes with that as well. So I don't want you to think that you automatically have to hanker after something that you had before, or hanker after somebody that you were before, because we all change, we all evolve, and we all are who we are now because of all the stuff that we've done, that we've gone through, that we've achieved, that we've fucking survived for the last 40 or 50 odd years. So to have some confidence about you, to be who you genuinely are now, is like super cool and perfectly, it is so acceptable. I am not the person that I was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. I'm not the person that I was 2 years ago. I am totally different. And it's down to confidence, and it's down to, right, I'm not... As long as you're not a cunt to people, right, and as long as you're not nasty, and as long as you don't bring people down to make yourself feel better, there is probably nothing wrong with the way you are now. Who you are now, your beliefs, your morals, your values, providing you have the confidence to be who you are and live the way you want to live, right, and you're not being a cunt to other people, that's okay. That's okay. So I have one task for you today. It's actually 2 tasks, all right? But what I want you to think about, I want you to assume that you have half your life left, right? Or at least just under half. Obviously, if you're 52 and I'm going to live to 104, that'll be fucking amazing. But just say you've got half your life left, right? I want you to think about if there is one thing that you would like to change, right? One thing in your life, right? Now, that could be your nutrition, it could be your fitness, it could be your relationship, it could be your job, it could be your friends, it could be your social circle, it could be anything, right? That one thing that you want to change. It could be something small, which feels gigantic. All right, just one thing. So I want you to think about one thing that you want to change in your life. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to do one thing today that's going to get you a step closer to that goal. Right, now that goal might actually take you 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, right? But you can do one thing today to get you a step closer to that goal. And then tomorrow you can do another one thing to get you a step closer to that goal. Right, I'll give you 2 examples, and I'm going to give you a fitness example and a nutrition food example because that's what I deal in, all right? So just say you look in the mirror, go and look in the mirror right now, preferably naked, so take all your clothes off, not in a public place, obviously, I'm assuming that you're working from home. Go and look in the mirror, right? And if you don't like what you see and you want to lose a couple of stone, what one thing can you do today to get yourself a step closer? Right, I'll give you an example. The one thing you can do today is go and put some extra fruit and veg on your plate at lunchtime. All right, now that is a tiny thing. Losing 2 to 4 stone is quite huge, right? And that could literally take you 2 years, and that's totally cool. But that one thing today of putting an extra portion of fruit and veg on your plate, right? That's fucking tiny, and that's absolutely doable. You can totally do this. Right, the second thing is fitness. Just say your mobility has went a bit to shit, right? You've got sore knees, you've got a sore hip, you've got a frozen shoulder, right? All of those injuries and sore bits are quite common in midlife, right? Especially midlife women, right? So you want to get a bit fitter and you want to improve your mobility, right? So you could decide, right? Go and do some research on Google and Facebook and Instagram, right? And find a fitness class, whatever that may be. Obviously, you should come to CrossFit and Ladies That Lift because that's what I do, and I believe everybody should do CrossFit and Ladies That Lift. But again, it's not for everybody. So go and find something that you want to do, right? Whether it's taking up badminton, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's playing squash, whether it's cycling, whether it's running a 10k or a 5k, right? Go and find one thing. Go to a gym class, Zumba, Pure Gym, Bannatynes, anything, right? Go and find that thing that you want to do, right? The little thing that you can do to get yourself a step closer to that is sign up first of all, right? And promise yourself this week, it's Wednesday, so that gives you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? You will do one class this week. Next week, do that one class again. The week after, do that one class again. So that's 3 weeks in and you've done one class, all right? Maybe on the 4th week, you could do 2 classes, all right? When you break it down. That's your homework, my lovelies, all right? Have a think about where you were in each decade. Have a think about where you are now. Are you where you are now? If you're not, what would you like to change? Pick one thing and do one thing today to get you a step closer to that goal. All right, my lovelies, I'm away to drink my coffee. I'm away to make my carrots and my feta because I've got the feta now, even though I had to go to Tesco twice. All right. Find me on my socials, my lovely. It would be much appreciated if you could give me a follow. Coach Caris on Instagram and Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, Coach Caris, funnily enough. And hopefully you've found me and you're listening to my podcast, Coach Caris, Itchy, Bitchy and Guests. It would be amazing if you could rate me or drop me a comment on Spotify and let me know that you're listening. Thank you, my lovelies. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.